Hey, Sooner football fans. You got Terry, Rob, and Caleb here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
Thank you for blessing us once again with your attendance, Caleb. So, Oklahoma slaps Army around for 4 quarters, wins in overtime, 28 to 21.
I'm not sure everybody would agree with the slapping part.
I think more survived 4 quarters.
Survived. Well, hey, before we get into the game, I got our little attendee autograph thing out here, and I just want to get a shout out to all these people who came to Buffalo Wild Wings and hung out with us and Derek from Reload Status and the Boomer Boys and Just OK Sports. If I can't read your name, I'm sorry. We have Daryl Reiniger from Just OK Sports, Johnny Lane. Trying to think. He is OU fan 580. Came from Florida. I think he wins the
Distance Traveled
Award. Lindsey Smith from Norman. Nathan Rawl. He's Asgard SG1 from Tulsa. Somebody with a B from Norman, Oklahoma. Can't read it. The Forest Witch was there, Adrian.
Did she bring my beer?
Yeah, she brought your beer.
It's a good thing.
Well, she brought us beer. We have to share. She's apparently too cheap to buy us each a beer. So
oh, we got to share it? Okay. Yeah, no 2 straws thing, though.
Yeah. We had Lincoln Riley's bacon. Came from Georgetown, Texas.
Did he bring some bacon?
He ate some bacon.
Oh, well.
Cheese fries with bacon on it.
There you go. Oh, I've seen the picture, yeah.
Yeah. No, let's see. I'm going to say Craig from Casa Grande. No, that's Conway. Good grief. Sorry, Conway. Conway Barnes from Casa Grande, Arizona. Kevin, if I pronounce your name wrong, Abai, the Okie Cub from Jinx, Oklahoma. Let's see. OU Jen. I can't see your last name, but it's Jennifer. She hung out with us and Adrian. Braxton Turner from Chickasha. Tattoo Baker was there, of course. Derek Baumgardner, Sooner Bomb, Oklahoma Reload Status was there, of course. Southwest Missouri Sooner from Joplin, Missouri was there. Lisa, oh gosh, her last name, from Siloam Springs, Crazy Legs was there.
Lisa Giletti?
Yeah, Giletti, there it is.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that how she pronounced it?
Or
is it Gillette?
I don't know.
I don't know. She was stabby, though.
She was wearing a Sooner football fan shirt.
She was?
There, she showed up in the...
I was looking at a deal today where she was about to go off on somebody on Twitter. Like, oh, man, I'm not gonna make that girl mad.
Chris Winlock from Shawnee, Oklahoma. Holzhammer, Cody was there, of course. Brad Johnson from Champ U, of course, who did our he's part of the Boomer Boys that did our podcast with us, or we did theirs, however we want to put it. Brian Johnson, OU Golf is him, and of course Brett Burns, the Angry Sooner, has the biggest autograph. He's kind of like John Hancock on there, and his lovely wife was there. So, and everybody had their wives and or significant others. Derek had his little girl there who was the cutest thing in the world. Baumgardner did, Sooner Bomb, and she kept walking around. She'd get used to you and then unused to you. So, but that was the crew who showed up to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I think there was some more. I forgot to get everybody to sign it, but, it is what it is. So it was a great turnout, great time, great food. We went over to Derek Morton's tailgate about 3 o'clock. Demo. And hung out with Demo. He was great. His group was great. Just welcomed us all. And it was most of us that were there, I think, went over and hung out at his for a while. So, but I'm still hoarse, as you can tell. I don't know if you can tell, but
yeah, I could hear it a little bit.
So, but anyway,
I was yelling in spirit.
Yeah. So, first off, let's just get each other's takes. And I had to make us all shut up when Rob first got here because we just started talking about it.
I mean, this is how it all began, right?
Exactly.
We just started talking about the game, and I haven't been able to talk to anybody about the game.
So,
So,
Caleb, start going, and we're going to argue.
Okay. So positive for me though is that this is a game. Like I said before the year started, the OU has a game every year that they should have lost and they lose. And this is a game I felt this year. Like when the fourth quarter, when they were driving, I was texting my buddies like, "OU's gonna lose this game. Like this is it. Like this is the game they're gonna lose." And then we forced an interception. It's like, all right, we're good. We drove down the field, got the 1-yard line, and we get stuffed. It's like, all right, we're gonna lose again. It's all right. This is what happens. OU, we'll still be good. We'll win the rest of the year. And then what was that one? Did we force an interception or?
No, I think they turned it over on downs, didn't they?
We had the ball back.
Yeah.
And then we went to drive and we had to kick a game-winning field goal. And
that upsets me.
that upsets me too. We went for a field goal. We should have went for a touchdown. And I think if you know me, I don't much trust in Seibert. He's a great kicker, but when he needs a kick, when he kick more anytime else, he misses it. He misses the most important kicks. And what happened this game? He missed it wide left. So it's just with overtime, we score early. And I was like, if they score, they're gonna go for 2, and it's gonna be Boise State 2.0. And thank God our defense stepped up in the fourth quarter. Mostly, they didn't score points at all in the fourth or in overtime, and we forced 2 turnovers, and we won the game. That's a game that we always lose, and we pull it out this year. So that's my main thought process: is positive to get to start off, and then we'll get negative stuff later. But I mean, that's a game that OU always loses, and we pull it out this year. So happy about that.
I don't think you can say always.
We normally
Last couple of years.
We haven't
is
been
what I think is
undefeated
what it's
since
saying.
In the year 2000, did you say that?
We haven't been
No,
undefeated.
you did not,
That-
because we went undefeated.
That was last time. That's 18 years.
You wouldn't have said it though, because you were a child.
I'm pretty sure our freshmen aren't even 18 years old. So since they've been alive, we've lost games like that.
Well, I'm just saying. Year 2000, we did not lose a game that we should have lost, or shouldn't have lost.
Yeah. Rob, what was your take?
So I got to watch it today, obviously, since I didn't get to watch it yesterday. And the offense at times looked like the juggernaut that we all thought they were, and at times they were like, "What are y'all doing?" But there's one pass to Hollywood that, man, it just looked like if he dives, he gets that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they fired on all cylinders, but they didn't do bad either. I mean,
No.
we scored more than we didn't when we
Right.
had the ball. So the problem was we didn't have the ball enough. We didn't get enough, stops and turnovers. But you and I have already talked about this, that Army offense, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They burn clock, and they just, if they get 3 yards, they're happy
Yeah.
because they'll do it 4 times in a row.
Right.
And that's what they did. And I mean, yes, there are teams that are going to be able to stop them from doing that. And yes, we should be one of those teams, but we weren't Saturday. We didn't do a bad job, I don't think, on defense, but we didn't do a stellar job either.
Right.
But overall, I thought we did okay. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm kind of the same. I mean, I'm happy with the win. I was more upset with the offense than I was the defense, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. We all said before the season started that this game scared us, and then we all started looking at that Kool-Aid, the defensive
I
Kool-Aid, a
drank
little bit.
it. 49-10 was my score.
And I even said I thought Oklahoma would hold them to 150 yards. Duke held them to like 168. That's been thrown out there, and I'm getting to the point, talking with folks this weekend and stuff, and agreeing with some of the stuff some of the fans said out there before the game that were at the tailgate deal was, you can't compare Oklahoma playing Army to Duke playing Army. It's
Right.
a completely different team. It's a completely different scheme. And people are like, well, I've seen, would Alabama, what would Alabama do to Army? I don't know. You would say Alabama would wipe them up. How you
They
can't say
might.
that. They might.
But you know what we talked about before the season ever began was all these teams that we're going to play, Florida, Army, that they have got the OU game circled.
Right.
And, we didn't have this game circled for them. No offense to them, but we didn't.
Right.
So
So I mean, Army, like what you said, Army came out to get they were going to get 3 or 4 yards a carry. That was their goal. Their goal wasn't to go down and break long plays, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, the old Oklahoma wishbone. That wasn't their plan. Their plan was, we're going to get 3 yards, come hell or high water. We don't care if it's 1st and 10, 4th and 3, 4th and 4. We're going to go for it every time. They had no intention. They believed, we're going to go out there and we're going to get 3 yards.
The first punt in the game, minute left in the first half.
Right.
First punt in the game.
Yeah.
So,
and that was their goal. Was not to outscore us, but they believe, hey, if we keep Oklahoma's offense off the field, we'll keep it close and have a chance to win. Which, got news for you, everybody in the world, that's everybody's plan against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's everybody's plan.
Absolutely.
It was Georgia's plan last year. It was FAU's plan, UCLA's plan, Iowa State. Guess what? It's going to be at Baylor's plan, and it's going to be Texas' plan.
I don't know, Texas. Might think they outscore us now.
They might.
But
I guess I was a little disappointed with the D-line when I was looking at the box scores. They were just kind of moving the ball.
Yeah.
But then when I watched it today, I mean, those guys were chopping them and holding them.
Yeah.
If they weren't chopping them, they were holding them. So, I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying normally we don't play people that just chop and
right.
It's a little different. They knew they were undersized, so that was their game plan. It worked out for them. It really did.
And if you don't, and people talked about this before the game. You don't play. There's about 3 teams in the country that scheme that way: Army, Navy, Georgia Tech. And they're option, they're option teams. They're going out. They're going to chop you down, and then you're going to have to. They weren't blowing the defense off the ball.
No.
They were getting them onto the ground.
We stopped it as much as they got through, but they did. They slipped that fullback through just a bunch. They would chop somebody, and they knew they were chopping them, and they would go right through that gap or that hole, whatever. So,
but it is what it is. It's a win. And we've got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today because there were fans around me and they're trying to start a Fire Mike Stoops chant last night. I've heard other folks on Twitter and stuff are saying the same thing.
There's been a lot of OU fans going back and forth today.
Yeah.
I thought we lost. I got a friend with my text today saying that OU's going to look like OU's just not going to win this year. Like, we just get rid of all our coaches, all of them, even Lincoln included.
Oh boy!
That's
talk about your knee-jerk reaction
people
there.
are just so mad. It's just. That's why I told him, hey, this is a game we always lose. We won the game. I'm not going to freak out until we at least lose a game.
Well, George Stoya tweeted one of his emails today, and he goes, "It's the time of year that we start getting these." That a guy sent him an email. He posted the email that said, "Need to fire Lincoln Riley and Joe Castiglione for keeping Mike Stoops."
Ah.
Well, my friend says we should get rid of Lincoln because when we get push comes to shove, he freezes at big moments, like in overtime plays and like the Georgia game last year. I don't agree with him. This what he said. The Georgia game last year, he kind of froze, and then this year, like with the play calling goal line, he kind of froze. But then in overtime this year, he ran his normal offense, and we scored within 2 plays. We scored twice, and then one got called back. But
there were certain times like the first 2 drives, we just kind of drove it down their throat. We did what. Did you ever feel like we went into like a vanilla package, or we just didn't have enough plays to go into?
I think we scored so easy the first 2 times. The first 3 times we scored so easy. We got the ball, and then we went down there and scored. And then I think what happened was Lincoln realized that we need our defense some rest, and then they changed their game plan a little bit.
That's a good point. I think he was like, we've got to turn it around, and we've got to keep the ball away from them. I agree with that.
Because we could have scored, a couple of times.
They were on the field a lot. A lot.
We started Kyler slid a couple of times. We could have kept on going, and we could have just kept on. We could have done the RPO play, where that fullback drops back there every play. It was open every time.
Yeah.
Or we did CD Lamb. We could have done.
I don't know why we didn't do it down there on the goal line.
Yeah. Well, let's look at stats first. We got first downs, 22-10. Guess who in favor?
Yeah.
No, most of it's going to be an Army's favor.
Hey, come on, guys! But let's have some fun with it. Let's guess.
It's not really a fun game. I said this is pretty much the worst loss you can really have. You would think people thought we lost this game.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Before you get going, Terry, I didn't get to come out of the office until late in the third, and I came down the ramp
Yeah.
right there on the field. And I looked up at the scoreboard because I hadn't been watching any stats. I just knew what the score was. And we had less than 100 yards rushing and I think 100 yards passing at the time. And they had like 330 yards rushing. I was like, how are we winning this ball game?
Yeah.
Well, for the third time in a row, Kyle Murray's a leading rusher, which I mean that's not all his fault either. Like he's just much faster than everyone else out there.
Let's see here. Let's see. Net rushing yards, 339 to 190. Guess who won that one? Rushing attempts, 78.
78.
78.
So if you do the math, what is it?
That's-
Caleb?
Can we divide it right now?
yeah, 4.3 yards per carry.
4.3.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit.
That's a little higher than I thought.
Yeah, a little higher than I thought, but
Yeah. Oklahoma had 25 rushing attempts, 7.6 yards a carry.
We averaged like 10 yards a play, right?
Yeah.
We averaged like 10 yards a play.
Passing yards, 40 to 165.
Well, Trey Sermon's a leading rusher, actually.
Their passing was 3 of 9, 2 interceptions. Oklahoma was 11 of 15 with 1 interception. 4.5 yards per attempt for Army, 11 yards per attempt. Average per completion was 15, and total offense 379 to 355.
Who do you
I
think
think-
had the most receiving yards on the team?
I don't know yet.
Calc.
That's true. 2 catches, 47 yards.
So and then we get in here to possession time. First quarter, 9:44 to 5:16.
Hang on, Terry. I cannot let this go. The Detroit Lions, have a coach named Jim Bob Cooter.
Yeah, that's the offensive coordinator.
That is the best name in football.
That's why you throw the ball around, because you have Jim Cooter. You got to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Please continue.
First quarter, 9:44 to 5:16. So Oklahoma scored 14 points in 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Okay.
Pretty much a wheel too. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah.
Caleb, would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I think yeah.
It took Army 9 minutes and 44 seconds to score 7 points.
Didn't they have an 11-play drive or 11-minute drive too?
I think so.
That is
Third quarter,
ridiculous.
And, second quarter, 12 minutes and 17 seconds, Army. Oklahoma, 2 minutes and 43 seconds. So Oklahoma scored 21 points in less than 8 minutes. Okay.
And their first drive was longer than that.
Third quarter, 12 minutes and 34 seconds, 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Oklahoma basically didn't have the ball that quarter. I mean, they didn't score. Fourth quarter, 10 minutes and 6 seconds, 4 minutes and 54 seconds. And third down conversions, 13 of 21. And we were 1 of 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fourth down conversions. This goes to what you and I were saying. They were going to try to get 3 yards a pop every time. 4 out of 5, and Oklahoma was 0 out of 1.
Oh, so there was that one that was like 4th and 8, and they threw a little pass. That one got me angry.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The defense really stiffened up at the end when they had to. I mean, I wish they'd have done that all game, but
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, what we got? 1, 3, 4 and out, a forced turnover, then overtime we got another forced turnover.
yeah.
Here,
They did
here
good
may
job
be.
in the fourth quarter.
Here's one I'm just now looking at. Maybe the stat of the game. Points off turnovers. Army 7, Oklahoma 0. Oklahoma doesn't turn that ball over. Maybe a completely different
That's
game.
what happened. We got the 3 and out. They forced a punt. First play.
But that's Mike Stoops' fault.
I couldn't tell what happened with that pass either. It just
I think
don't know.
I think he just underthrew it.
Just underthrew it?
Yeah, he's underthrew it. I think.
Rob, guess how many Army guys had 100 yards rushing?
1.
Yeah, 108.
Yeah, because like 22 guys ran the ball. I'm just like, is that the lineman running the ball right there? I don't know.
That one big fullback come every 3rd and 1.
Yeah, Kelvin Hopkins, the quarterback.
He did pretty good.
Yeah, Woolfolk is the fullback. He had 21 carries.
And their fullbacks are no joke. He was like 260
he's
pounds.
a big old boy.
Yeah.
And I was wrong on one. Trey Sermon had 119 yards.
Yeah, he is the leading rusher.
Kyler Murray had 84.
Yeah.
And that's the only two guys that carried the ball for Oklahoma.
Those are the only two. Fletcher did not get a carry.
He got a catch.
Interesting.
We weren't out there long enough to do that stuff. Like,
Really?
Trey Sermon was still fresh.
Yeah.
We didn't even get through the first page of the playbook.
We didn't even
like, good grief.
Riley never got into calling play. You know, I think most people tell you that your first like 20 plays are scripted. He never got out of his unscripted plays.
I know it.
That Florida Atlantic game was just practice for this. Like that first half, we just played him a quarter and a half in the first game. So they did it today offensively.
CeeDee Lamb had 4 catches. Calcaterra had 2. Lee Morris had 1. Miles Tees 1. A.D. Miller 1. T.J. Pleasure 1.
You know
Carson
what that
Meyer 1.
That pass to Tees that went in, that he stepped out.
Yeah.
That was underthrown. He throws that just a little bit further. He catches that on the run. And easy.
Here's the thing that got me was when they reversed the call, people started booing. It was like, good God, you can see it on the giant screen. He stepped out of bounds.
Come on, people. I mean, I understand you want that touchdown, but come on.
I think they're booing because they're all nervous OU fans at the time. That's probably why they're booing.
But
I don't know. I think Keller had 2 bad passes. Honestly, the one he threw to CD over the middle right before halftime that hit him in the hands, but he still threw it like 2 feet behind him.
Yeah,
that was a bad throw, and then the interception was a bad throw. I thought the one he threw over top to Hollywood was a good throw. He threw it the only way he could catch it at, and Hollywood just couldn't get out there.
Yeah. What we talked about before we came on the air was, when you don't have that many attempts, the ones that you miss, you're like, man, that was bad.
Yeah, my watch party was saying Kyle Murray's playing garbage. It's like, he has 3 incompletions. He's throwing 2 bad passes.
Right.
Like he's the best player on our team. Like he's carrying us right now on offense.
I mean, if he was 22 for 28, with those same passes, you wouldn't say anything about him.
They wouldn't even notice. They just stand out because there were 3 in a row too. Because those 2, and then went to halftime, and then our first play after halftime was the interception.
And you know something else? And I don't mean to change gears so quickly, but I didn't see a whole bunch of bouncing off. I mean, there was some. Yeah. But we tackled well, or better than we did last week. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we did tackle. That's one thing we did do was tackle. They didn't make breaking tackles really. I mean, that's what our problems last week was not tackling. But we fixed that this week with most case. It's just.
Well, Kenneth Murray broke the
NCAA record,
Oklahoma's record, and he also got the Defensive Player of the Week, not Big 12, but the National Player of the
and
the
Bolton
week.
was right behind him.
Yeah,
like
Bolton.
23 or something like
Good
that.
grief.
Yeah, Kenneth Murray. Oh, good Lord, why'd it do that? My little computer just kicked backwards, so hold on.
Well, I can tell you this. I was highly, highly impressed with Army's tackling because they never missed a one-on-one.
Except for Kyle Murray, because he's outran him.
Well, yeah, I mean, that doesn't even count because
they had angles on him. He just went,
did you
angles.
Hey, and did you see that one where Trey Sermon broke that one guy's ankles?
Oh, yeah.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
But there was one play where Kyler was going around the right side, and it looked like 3 guys had the angle on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just gone. He was gone before they got there. I'm sure they were like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about what happened with defense. Let's get into defense talk first. I wasn't unhappy with the defense.
No.
Okay. Our linebackers made the majority of the tackles, which anybody who knows football will tell you your linebackers should be your top tacklers.
Should. Yep.
Okay. We didn't get, not that I saw, didn't get blown off the ball. We got chopped, held.
Chopping, a lot of holding.
Caleb, you threw out the stat, how many 77, how many plays did we say they had?
78.
78, not one holding call?
Not one. But I'm going to tell you this. I will say this about Army. They didn't, most holding gets called if you put your arms around somebody. They were in tight, and they were grabbing jerseys.
Yeah, grabbing that inside the shoulder pad.
So you're not going to get that called as much, and they didn't get it called at all, which was fantastic for them.
Yeah.
But,
But, the defense, I'm going to throw it out there that people are going to think I'm an idiot, but I don't care if you think I'm an idiot because I think I'm smarter than you. So,
ego going right now.
Everybody just turned it off.
Is Oklahoma's defense, when they had to get the stops, did. Anybody want to disagree with that?
No. So they did that.
Yeah, I mean they got to stop in the fourth quarter. when everybody knew. I mean,
Stops in the fourth
when
quarter.
I'm sitting right there with everybody in my section, and when we didn't get that fourth down, I said they got 12 minutes. They're gonna, and I said the same thing. They're gonna drive down the field and score if something doesn't happen that we get a stop.
That's when we got the interception. That's when
Yeah, and we put them in a passing situation.
hit them while he threw it and picked them off.
Right. So defense did what they needed to do when they needed to do it.
Did
Yeah.
Time too.
I just, I think all fans, and that's what we are,
Yeah.
simple fans. I wish they would have done that all game long, but that's not very realistic. Is
Right.
I think that's when that's when our D line finally got pushed back. My biggest issue with defense this whole game is that our D line got pushed around. Like we just getting pressure pushed back on them. The last on the overtime and then the last drive, we were in the backfield a lot, which didn't happen the whole game. Like we were in the backfield a lot in that last two drives, and that's what I was frustrated about. Everything else on defense I thought was fine, but how we got zero push at all. That everyone's whole option. You push back on them, they can't do the option because they're already in the backfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it. Penetration kills kills the option.
But it's hard to get
penetration.
it's hard to get penetration when your legs are chopped out. You know?
and they know penetration kills the option, so
Yeah.
they're going when they give it to that fullback. It's quick.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about that except tackle him. And if you're chopped and he makes it in the secondary, there's your 4 yards.
Right.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think our physical skills finally got over them in that time. I think they couldn't handle us no more, and I think they wore down just as much as we did, and I think we just wanted more.
Well, they had to. They
They're
were on the
there
plays
just as long as we were,
on
so,
the
I
field,
mean-
78 plays. That's why they were running 28 backs through there.
Yeah.
Good grief.
And but the defense, yeah, there's a whole lot of yards given up,
That's touchdown.
over the time, but again, only 21 points given up.
Yeah,
What have we said? And I think a lot of OU fans agree with this.
as long as we held them under 28.
Yeah,
right?
if we hold if we hold the team under 28 points, we should win every game.
But we always expect to score more than 28,
Yeah.
too. Right? Yeah, only 21 in reg.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, like, we just once again, deep and stop when we needed stops. Like, we got stopped after halftime. They had the ball back. We forced 3 and out right there.
Right.
I mean, they got 1 first down, but we forced a punt. We got the ball back, turned it over. They tied it, and then we couldn't score again. We forced a turnover. So we needed stops. We forced stops.
well, here's the thing. No team down the road that we're going to play the rest of the year can look at this game and go, oh, yeah, if we do this, we can.
Yeah, this is how we're going to beat Oklahoma.
Nobody else can do that.
Well, they don't have the personnel to do it. Like we talked about before, their Army is, this goes all the way back to Little League football. In my opinion, Little League, high school, middle school, if you know they're bigger and stronger, you're told
Make the game ugly.
to get in their knees.
Absolutely.
You know what?
Grab hold.
Right.
Grab
Do
hold. Yep.
whatever. If you had a bigger man, if you came off the sidelines in Little League, high school, or whatever, and you had a big man whooping your tail, your coach told you, at least mine always did, was to get your head between their knees.
Got him.
Cut them. Get your head between their knees.
A lot of cutting.
We called it bear crawl tackle.
So nobody else is going to play us that way.
Yeah.
They
They're
can't.
just not.
So,
because to perfect that skill in that type of running game, that's all you got to do.
yeah.
And-
Well, so as a fan, what I'm hoping is, and I know Army's already been beat once, but I'm hoping that they're legitimate. I mean, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Some games that.
They're going to end up being another, what were they last year? 10-3. They're going to
Yeah.
be another 10-3.
Well, I hope so. I think they're pretty good.
Wins. No, at worst with 6 wins. But, I mean,
Yeah.
besides on Navy games, it's probably the biggest game they played. So I mean,
This may wind up being the toughest game we play all year. I mean, now obviously Texas has come a long way, or people
they
are saying
they beat the crap out of TCU. So.
But yeah,
Yeah.
they beat them.
So-
I think TCU's legit. So
So what was your take on the offense? I mean, I personally, I was more upset with the offense than I was the defense throughout
well,
the day.
think about it this way: we run a lot of stuff timing,
Mhm.
and when you don't get to play when you're on the sideline,
Right.
it kind of disrupts that. So you could see through several of the passes that the timing between Kyler and Marquise Brown were off just a little bit.
Right.
He threw that one behind CD that probably goes for a big gain.
Right.
So, I mean, he just wasn't completely on. Even the pass to Tees where he stepped out there late in the game, the pass was not great. He was behind him. He had to stop and turn around and catch the ball and then take off running. So,
none of that could be too because he was cold. I mean, he hadn't played any.
That one sack, right, against Kyler. Everything else he either took off or we were able to complete away.
And that was a well-designed blitz right there.
It was just he had no man, so he just blitzed right there.
Yeah. So
my offensive opinion, though, I thought, like I said earlier, I thought we just had to slow down to help the defense out. And I think we took a foot off the gas pedal a little bit, not trying to score. We're still trying to score, but not trying to score as fast, which I think is wrong. Because I think the best way to beat Army is to jump out in front of them real fast and force them to keep up with us.
Right.
And we couldn't. And then I think out there the second quarter is when we kind of changed our game plan a little bit. A little bit more run plays in there. We didn't really go for the juggler no more, and we just kept on. Like we still tried to score, but I don't think we're in a hurry to score like we normally are.
I think Caleb, you're hitting on a good point. Is that when you take Lincoln out of his game plan, is when Lincoln has trouble. You know what I mean?
Readjust mid-game.
He because I'm with you. I think we did a lot like what we did last year against Iowa State. We took our foot off the pedal too fast, let them get back in it. But I think his decision was, okay, I've got to slow down because these guys are going to keep the defense out on the field all night long. If I don't,
we're never going to get a rest.
Yeah, but do what you do on offense. And that's my opinion. Do what you do on offense. If you score in 2 plays, go score in 2 plays. You know what? Put it back on the defense going, guys, this is how we play football. This is your job to go out there and stop them.
Yeah, but that's kind of how you get people hurt.
Yeah, but still, I mean, and then when we get down, my biggest irk was the 4th down play. And we've looked at it on Twitter. I talked about it on Twitter. We've looked at it. I think that was a called give because Kyler could have walked in backwards had he kept it,
or just give it to Hollywood.
Yeah, and that to me is I think they have too many designed gives in those zone reads for Kyler that they don't want him to run for one reason.
Wait, are you saying that's not a RPO?
There's no pass option right there.
I'm just, is it?
That was a read option. That was a read option without the read. That was just a straight.
Yeah, it was a read option and
just a handoff. Is what it was.
But
yeah, that's not an RPO, right?
But everybody in the stands knew when Big Boy come out there that they're gonna and on the sidelines. Okay, they're bringing this guy out here, the big defensive kid.
Yeah, I have more issue with that 3rd down play call than the 4th down play call.
But you've got 2 of the fastest guys on the field, period, or in the stadium. Okay, and there's 100,000 people in the stadium, and you got 2 of the fastest guys in the building, and you don't give it to one of them and say get around the edge.
We're beating them with speed all game long.
Here's the thing. We should be able to score on them.
You should. That's another thing too.
We should be able to.
I'm just saying. I mean, just because you should doesn't mean you go in there and go, in a game that's in question still, and try to flex your muscles and go because we're OU, we should score on this play. I agree with you, but don't hey, let's zone read it with an option out there. If you look at that play, if he keeps it, Kyler gets in, but even if he doesn't, he's got a pitch man.
Yeah,
he can pitch it out there because he had a guy following him too.
Well, we got to play to our strengths, don't we?
Yeah, and that's our speed.
And we got the fastest guy in the country. I'm just saying.
It's just, I have more issue with that 3rd down play call because that's not what we do. Like we line up I formation. It's just not. That's not
right.
Us. That's not our offense. Like, yeah, it's cool. It would be cool to do it sometimes, but that's not our offense.
I agree.
We should just. If you want to run the ball, spread them out like we always do, like we did at Georgia. Spread them out and get the ball right there, and then because there's less people in the box. If you spread them out, you have to go guard them because we're so big out there and so fast out there. You have to respect that. If you don't have anyone out there, you can put 10 guys in the box.
Spread them out and do a quarterback draw. I don't care.
Right,
and he's going to make somebody miss, and he's going to be.
That was my big issue. That 3rd down play call, that 4th down play call, and then going for the field goal at the end.
That was my next one was. We still had time that we could have went for a couple of plays, to score.
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Because I think they let like 13, 14 seconds run off the
I
clock.
think we could still got a first down too, so we could have done a first down and stopped the clock again.
And even had it went. I cannot stand for any team to go, okay, let's when you can go down and take it out, especially when, folks are saying, we are the better team out of the two. Go score. Go put it in the end zone. Don't get it to the middle of the field so we can give our kicker a chip. Don't ever put it on a kicker's back is my whole deal.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the NFL and like the guys that get paid to do it, like you just got Alan Vinatieri or something like that. Then yeah, maybe then. But in college kick especially, you never want.
Well, he's
kick.
normally money. And what were they on the 18-yard line or something?
Yeah.
He's normally money until.
I mean, that's a chip shot. He just got a little excited and pulled her, didn't he?
He missed a kick against Georgia. It was a hard kick. He still missed one against Georgia. Stopped the bleeding. He missed a kick against Iowa State. Stopped the bleeding. Like we need to kick the most. That's when he misses. He's a great kicker. I mean, he's up for the kicker award this year. He's all Big 12. It's just like when you need to kick the most, I think the pressure gets to him a little bit, which is fine. He's a college kid. I mean, but still, when you need to kick the most from him, he misses them.
Yeah, because especially against Army, what's the worst that's going to happen if you turn it over? Okay, Army's not going to score in 13 seconds.
No.
From the 20. And my deal is, again, use your speed, use the outside, because if you watch the plays that Kyler got on the edge, he was like a surgeon. You know what I mean? He weaved through everybody.
They couldn't catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And so, it just irritates me with Sooner fans, and now we're we do our little podcast here, and so we're part of the stuff that people listen to. But Rob, me, you and I for years, after a loss or a game like this, I wouldn't listen to sports radio for the next day because everybody just
It's all negative.
yeah, it's all negative.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can sit here as fans and dissect it, but the bottom line is, and we can say, I'm not happy with Lincoln, I'm not happy with this, I'm not. Bottom line was we won the game.
We won the game.
So like I said, that's the game we lose. We haven't won that game in multiple years. We lose that game every year. That's the game we.
Yeah,
When
and
you go back and watch it, I mean, we looked pretty good most of the time.
yeah, and it doesn't matter. I don't care what what you say. Would Alabama, would Army do that to Alabama? I don't know, because Army doesn't play Alabama. And I don't, because you and I all know when we talked about this game has been circled, and I guarantee you, every practice, they discussed Oklahoma for the last.
Of course they did.
For the last 9 months, and but the fan base out there that wants to try to start a chant in the stands in the fourth quarter, to fire Mike Stoops. I can't think of her name now. I just went blank. She tailgates next to us, and she sits next to us. These guys were hollering, a couple of different guys from behind us, and she was like, I'm fixing to turn around. Her husband's an Army fan and an Oklahoma State fan, which is, Army fan I'm okay with, but
Would she lose a bet?
But anyway, she's like, I'm fixing to turn around and start yelling at these people. And I said, this is the reason I don't like going to Oklahoma games, because inevitably I'm around a couple of those people that I want to just turn around and crawl up the stands and punch. It's like, you're not doing anybody any good by standing up here and yelling obscenities at the defense, obscenities at Lincoln Riley. You're just making and then the people that come out on talk radio that I can't listen to takes joy out of my life because they want to focus on the negative. When I want to focus on the fact that Oklahoma won. We're 4-0. We're going to get into the rankings here in a little bit.
Awesome. Also, man, it happened all last week too. We got a lot of negative about last week too in the local radio. It was all like we won by 10 points. We're never in jeopardy last week, and I can only imagine what this week's going to be like. I already saw one article saying Oklahoma's defense is in huge trouble already, based off the Army game.
We'll see.
Yeah,
and it's just, I don't know. I still think there's any team on our record that really scares me. Like maybe West Virginia, maybe Texas. I say Texas over West Virginia because I think Texas actually has the talent to stay on the field with us. It's just all matters if they have it in the head. West Virginia though, they always fold at the end of the year, and that's when we play them at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no one else on our schedule really scares us except for maybe those 2 teams.
Yeah. Well, before we move off the fans, let's talk about this. How proud of you were of Sooner Nation for applauding and cheering
Oh man,
Army as they were going off the field?
Well, go ahead, Caleb. I mean,
I wasn't at the game, so I didn't know. I couldn't tell how loud it was, but apparently that place was rocking last night.
Yeah.
And like I said, like from everyone said, like what you said, people cussing at Stoops. All that aside, when they needed us the most, we all stood up and cheered for him, and they even said it helped him out at the end. That's like Lincoln's that's loud as ever heard it say him before.
That's what he said.
And,
Yeah.
like, I mean, so
and he was there
for the Texas Tech
for the
game.
Texas
Yeah,
Tech
but
game.
he wasn't on our sideline.
So even like with all this, like everyone being mad at each other about you winning, we did our part though. We were loud. We made a difference. I think at the very end because I mean, and then them clapping the Army was just awesome. I think also that plus Kenneth Murray going to every single player thanking them for their service at their game too was also amazing.
That's special.
Yeah.
That's special. That'll hit you right in the feels.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If you were inside the stadium, okay, and you were watching it, if you didn't have a tear in your eye at some point in time more than once, a chill on your goosebumps and hair rise up more than once, you don't have a soul. Okay.
Right. I heard they did the returning soldier and surprise the kids or something.
And even you knew it was coming.
But still,
You knew she was talking about, and they had the family down there, and all of a sudden you see, and everybody was, we were all like, she's here somewhere, she's here. And she comes running out, and you see the kids crying. I'm kind of tearing up right now.
Yeah, I hate to watch those.
Yeah, but and
like, don't you do it?
Didn't they fly the footballs into? Like didn't they parachute the footballs into?
Yeah, they parachute. We didn't get in time to see that, but coming from a family who's, my dad was in the military and was hurt, and and I was little when that happened, but I remember all the stuff that went on with it. And then a kid in the military, how that feels to see your family come back. Caleb, you know how it feels. You know how it feels when they leave. When you get to see that and the joy that brings them. Oklahoma fans we had some Army guys show up. They came from Fort Sill to the tailgate. Myself, Brett, and somebody else. I think Derek. I don't want to, I know people bought them drinks, and they kept going, "Whoa, we've had enough." And I was like, "No, get them another, get them another drink. Whatever they're getting to drink, we take care of it." And 2 of them shared stories with me about, they'd been deployed. They love the fact that they're here in Oklahoma. They come to games. They're glad that Army's getting to play. It was just cool sitting there, talking to those guys. And I talked to an old Vietnam vet that came over to buy one of the tailgates, and I went over and shook his hand, and he had his kids with him that had been in the military. So that stuff, and Oklahoma, and the way that Oklahoma cheered when Army came onto the field, there was no boos. Normally we boo, the opposing team. There was cheers, and then after the game, like you said, and one of I can't think of his name right now, but one of our linebackers marched with the ROTC because he's in ROTC, which I thought was really cool.
Well, I heard there was 2 4-star generals here.
It may have been,
which is rare. They don't, normally they don't. So 2 4-star generals. That's pretty impressive.
And I think the Oklahoma fans showed the military academy and the soldiers a lot of respect.
I'm glad.
They showed them more respect than they showed their own coaching staff.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
When the national anthem happened, did they say home with the Sooners or did
Yes.
they home with the Braves? They said it's
Yes, did home with the Sooners.
That was a big conversation going this week.
You know what? I mean, I know. I was listening to Toby Rowland, and he goes, I know there's a lot of people out there. He's like, I don't see what the big deal. Nobody's disrespecting the national anthem. It's just, you know what I mean?
People get a little butthurt for no reason at all. So
I yell Sooners. So
I was wondering what that.
I guarantee you, your brother would, David, and he's in the military.
Yeah. Another thing that's real cool too is what Army did after the game. Army cleaned up the locker room.
Yeah, did you see the locker room when they left?
Spick and span.
Leave it like
Army's getting a lot of love just from national media wise, which they should. They're getting for everything they've done.
Yeah, it said, leave it like it.
Like he showed up.
Like it was. Leave it like it. Whatever it was, but they
said thank you to OU too, and then Yeah, I mean, Army pretty much just for Army they did almost everything right this week besides win the game. Even without winning the game, they still pretty much won everything. Besides that.
And then like Barstool Army, they tweeted out, we fought till the end. Thanks, thanks for the respect. Thanks for the hospitality. Sooners, now go get that natty. They even know that we're a contender. They know that they fought one of the best teams out there.
There's I think there's a top 5 team. Everyone else is kind of behind that. I think, and so, using that top 5, it's like we're still right there with everyone else. I think there's one team that's above everyone right now, but that's just because they just are. But I think everyone else after that though is pretty equal.
Yeah.
So
but I'm telling you this. I agree with Lincoln. That I've been to a lot of games. And Oklahoma is kind of known as kind of that blue blood that we don't really get into sitting on our hands. That place was crazy loud at the end.
I thought we were sitting on our hands from the TV because TV-wise, you can tell it was that loud. So
Holy cow.
So that's good to hear because I thought we were sitting on our hands throughout the whole game.
It was loud. You couldn't turn to the person next to you and talk to them.
Really?
Yeah, it was loud.
So
you couldn't tell either, could you?
When I'm in my office, I cannot hear, the game at all.
Yeah.
But I heard the fans a couple of different times.
Yeah.
So I thought, man.
And there was one. I want to say, I can't remember what it was. It may have been when we scored. Yeah, I think it was when we scored in overtime or the pass that got played back. I swear to God, I felt the stadium shake because everybody jumped. You know what I mean? Everybody jumped up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what play it was. I was like, okay, my seat just shook.
Mm-hmm.
So I may be wrong. I may have been, I wasn't drunk or high, but it felt like the ground underneath my feet kind of rattled, but which was kind of cool. Honestly, it was kind of like, whoa.
Well, that thing's one big piece of concrete, so if it starts coming down, it's all coming down. But,
it's all in all, it was a great, it was a fun game.
At the game, I've been fun. Watching on TV, it was terrible.
It was terrible. Believe me, me, Caleb. I went, there was a fan of ours people were talking about on Twitter. I can't think of his name. Sorry. I don't want to look it up because it'll take me too long. But he said that
you know who you are.
You know who you are. He wore a hoodie, and he normally wears his jersey. And in the fourth quarter, he went into his bedroom for something, and he saw his jersey, so he put it on. And I said, now we know it's not Mike Stoops' fault. It was this guy's fault.
I seen that.
You need to prepare.
Mental disorder.
But another guy put on there, and he goes, I changed hats in the fourth quarter too, and I was hoping Sooner football fans were on their patio.
Nothing domestic. Rascal, our dog, he found his jersey.
Caleb couldn't find his jersey.
No, man, all those things. It's the one that we didn't lose. Man.
The guy's house was he was worried because there are no upsets at this point. Virginia Tech was still winning.
Yeah,
so there's no upsets yet today. I'm nervous, and so.
But
man, I hate to think that whether we win or lose is riding on whether or not somebody forgot to wash their red underwear. Yeah. And it's over in the hamper.
Yeah, but you never know. You
better go pull it out, and put it on.
You never know.
My dad didn't get up last year for the patio for the Iowa State game,
and look what happened.
I'm sure that's the reason that we lost it.
Hey, it didn't help. You see what I'm saying? It may have helped. We don't know because I didn't go out there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh.
We will never know, but
y'all are crazy.
Yeah. But there, we tried, like we told Rufus, we tried to do our part. It may not help, but who knows?
Rufus said, we don't know y'all do red underwear or not, right?
But you just don't know if it helps or not. But okay, guys, Oklahoma drops to number 6 in the AP, and they don't drop in the coaches. So
I thought we dropped more, so I'm actually kind of fine with that.
Why'd you think we'd drop more?
Because no national media. So I thought we would drop. I thought we'd drop down to 7 or so. So I'm fine with that.
Well, of course, Alabama's still number 1, and they thumped A&M.
A&M actually pushed them too, but every time A&M pushed them, Bama went right down the field and
Yeah.
punch right in the mouth. Like Bama was crazy impressive. That team is scary.
Georgia.
Fine. I think Missouri should have. I think that game should have been closer than what it really was. But
Clemson. I still think Clemson should have dropped with the A&M game, but
we got the right quarterback in there finally. That white boy.
Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine kid who does have a rocket on his arm. I think he finally took the job away from was it Boyd? I think.
Yeah.
His name was.
I understand. Who'd they beat yesterday,
They
Caleb?
beat Georgia Tech.
You got to throw in the games because
who runs the same type of offense as Army does, and they handle them pretty handily. So you can put that factor in there.
Now, Ohio State still number 4.
Play Tulane, also a triple option team. They handle them too.
Yeah. LSU, in my opinion, shouldn't have jumped us because they barely got by. I almost my bold prediction, Cotton.
Upset.
Rob.
Yes.
My bold prediction was Louisiana Tech. And,
Yes, it was.
And they just about.
It was close. I'm okay with them jump. They have 2 top 10 wins. Our best wins probably Army. So
None of that
I'm fine
makes
with that.
any
Difference
difference to me
right
right
now.
now.
right now, they
Nope.
should be ahead as of right now. Then
Yeah.
for that reason alone, and by the end of the season, they'll play themselves out. But as of right now, they have more impressive wins than
Yeah.
we do.
And then it's Stanford, Notre Dame, Penn State.
Stanford, gosh.
They're all still undefeated. Auburn has got 1 loss. Washington's next with 1 loss. West Virginia. I think they're being penalized for missing a game because they're 3-0.
They're also West Virginia too.
Yeah. And UCF is next. Coach Heupel.
Still undefeated.
Yeah, keeping the winning streak going. Wonder if Scott Frost is having second thoughts.
Well, who's the next team?
Michigan.
I'm pretty sure he is after that game. Because Michigan put a beat down on them.
Yeah, they did. I think Michigan's decent, but I really think Nebraska's just bad.
Well, Michigan, they have a great defense. If they get a quarterback, they're pretty good. They have enough talent on defense. I mean, they got Dak Shepard, or Dak Hill. I mean, they get talent there at Michigan. That's one thing they do get. It's just they can't get the offense to work yet. So
No.
still
That's
control
good.
their
I
own
don't,
destiny,
I
though.
don't want them in the conversation.
I'd much rather have them in Ohio State. I'm always
Yeah.
a Michigan guy over Ohio State.
And then we got Wisconsin, Miami.
The Bucknuts.
Yeah. Kentucky jumps in.
Which is deservedly so.
Yep,
They've been
deservedly
really
so.
good. And their Stoops.
Another
turned
Stoops.
him
Boy.
around.
Yep.
And they've been really good this year. They beat the crap out of Mississippi State, too.
Yeah.
And I think Mississippi State's decent.
Okay. And,
Mississippi had probably the best defense in the country, and they got whooped
yeah. And how the hell does Texas jump in?
because they manhandled TCU.
Okay. But here's the other thing. TCU dropped out.
They traded them spots.
Okay. No, but look at that. Okay.
That only happens to Big 12 teams.
University of Kentucky manhandled Mississippi State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State's at 23.
Well, TCU has 2 losses. They
Oh,
lost
yeah,
Ohio
they
State
do.
last week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But you know something? If Alabama lost this week, they would not fall out of the top 5.
No.
No. Well, Wisconsin lost last week, and they fell to from 6 to, I think, 18 last week?
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it's not just the Big 12. It's just, I mean,
Then we got Oregon, the Mormons,
Oregon should have won. The Oregon should beat
Michigan
beat
State,
Stanford.
Duke.
Duke
That
is ranked
was a heck of a
undefeated.
comeback, though, against Oregon, wasn't it?
It was crazy. But if Oregon
That
just
was
needs the ball,
crazy.
they win the game. Like, geez, come on, Oregon.
I loved ESPN talking about their
Win probability.
Yeah, 99.8% probability.
Like
That,
I said, Oregon was a 2-point dog. I mean, they lost. So a lot of angry people about that game.
Yeah, but hey, Duke's in the top 25, undefeated.
They beat Army. They beat Baylor.
Yeah,
We beat the red hot
they
Kansas.
beat the hell out of Baylor.
Yeah.
and
So
a lot of people are going to do that.
yeah,
Well, we can compare 2 weeks in a row. We can compare ourselves to Duke.
yeah.
Yep.
Cal is 3-0, and Texas Tech with their thumping of the
Oklahoma State.
of
Which-
Oklahoma State.
That's the big game. There's 3 really big games this weekend.
Yeah,
We got Ohio State going to Penn State. That's a huge game.
Nah, it's not a huge game.
That's a huge game for.
Well,
For
Ohio
playoff
State's going to
reasons.
thump Penn State.
I mean, Bosa's
Yeah.
hurt. Bosa's still hurt. The best players
Doesn't
still hurt.
matter.
I mean, Penn State has one of
Penn-
the best offense in the country. They're up there with OU.
We'll see.
Offensively.
yeah.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, that's a huge game still.
I got Ohio State by 20.
Okay, who was it? Beat who did Old Dominion beat?
They beat
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
That's a huge game. Whoever wins that game is more likely to win the Big Ten. Probably.
Somebody may or may not have had them picked as their dark horse. It might have been me.
Then you got that game this week, the Ohio State Penn State. Then you got Stanford going to Notre Dame, which Stanford, please beat Notre Dame, because the last thing the world needs is undefeated Notre Dame going.
Well, Notre Dame's better than I thought they were.
I don't think they're that good still. I mean, they should have lost to Vanderbilt last week. They got lucky, honestly. And then you got Texas Tech going, or West Virginia going to Texas Tech next week.
Yeah.
So there's 3 really big games right there.
So let's jump into the Big 12. Iowa State beat Akron 26-13.
Good. I guess some swimmer died for Iowa State.
No, it was a golfer.
Golfer, yeah. Golfer died.
It was
Yeah, but
horrible.
that game does nothing for me.
But still, but they honor for the game. And
Yeah.
they had patches for
Yeah,
her.
did you hear
So it
about
was-
that though, Rob?
Yeah.
No.
She was like the female athlete of the year. She was murdered on the golf course. She was playing around a golf,
my,
and this
yeah.
nutbag.
That's horrible.
Yeah, who just goes out there and kills her. She was missing for like a day, and they caught the guy. It's a
Yeah,
frick.
so they that's why it matters, because they honored her.
Yeah.
At a moment of silence. It was really cool. And so
I
that's
get
good.
that, but that game against Akron, I mean, it holds no water.
Yeah, Baylor beats Kansas 26-7.
Kansas 2-game winning streak ends right there.
Texas beat the Horned Frogs.
I think they shut them out in the second half.
Man, it was impressive. Win,
Yeah.
actually, I think.
It was pretty good.
And then Texas Tech just beat the crap out of the Cowboys 41-17.
I really thought OSU was better than that.
I thought so too. I guess it's a week-to-week league, though. All can change in 1 week. I think we all should know that by now.
So is there a possibility here that the Big 12 is just a whole lot better than we thought? Like Texas Tech, OSU, Texas, West Virginia, all really, really good teams?
Well, I think for a fact now, I think there's no denying that the Big 12 is probably the 3rd best conference of all of them. I think the ACC and Pac-12, but especially with Virginia Tech's loss, is firmly behind the Big 12, I think.
Yeah. Arguably, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think now, of course, the national media is not going to say that.
No, I think they actually are saying they're saying the worst conference is Pac-12, and ACC only has 1 ranked team.
Yeah, so
With
Well,
Nebraska
now.
being
Yeah,
complete trash, I mean, they're just
Well, but the Big Ten has the SEC problem. They have one side that's too good, and the other side's garbage.
right.
And that's the Big Ten. They have the same problems. They
Yeah.
have one really good division and one really bad division.
So we got Baylor. We'll have the Baylor podcast tomorrow night, or dropping on Tuesday for everybody with their podcast crew. So that'll be fun. But we were looking at some, we mentioned it earlier, and Rob pulled them up. And this is going to be a new segment. We just kind of, this is how witty and on the fly.
With you,
Man, so yeah, this
Yeah.
just
You
got
guys
out
are
of
painting
control.
each other. I ain't helping
No,
them.
That's the key
no,
one.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying.
no, no, no.
And
never say that to me again.
You asked if you jinx us, so I'll make sure you don't jinx us. So you forced with my hand to push it that step farther. So now I got to do full body paint.
So this is my fault.
It is your fault.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I mean,
we
we won that
figured it
championship.
out.
I'm pretty
done it.
sure this is a mental disorder.
Yeah. So, and this may be the question for Lincoln: is the last time Oklahoma won a national championship, Rob painted his face for every national championship and.
If we can say it's your fault, what do you say? We might say it's probably not all your fault, but you probably have something to do with it.
Yeah.